Ladies and gentlemen, this is Miss Humbert here, and we're going to be doing Unit 1, Notes 2, so your second note video of Unit 1. And today we're going to be talking about writing and solving multi-step inequalities. So let's go ahead and let's take a look at what that should look like. So, taking a look, remember these 4 steps. So I want you guys to just fill in the blank, and I know it's kind of tedious, but I do think it's really important to write them down so that way you have them as a reference if you get stuck on a part. So remember, your first step is to simplify each side of the equal sign by distributing and combining like terms. Okay, so you're going to simplify each side of the equal sign or inequality sign like we're doing today by distributing and combining like terms. Next, you're going to gather the variables to one side of the equal sign. And so once you've done that, then you're going to use addition or subtraction to cancel the constant, and then use multiplication or division to cancel the coefficient. Now this is something we practiced a lot yesterday, but let's just take a look at a couple of examples to help remind ourselves. So for this one, the first thing we want to do is take that -2 and distribute it in. Okay, so we're going to take that -2 and multiply it by 3, which is -6x. -2 times 5 is -10, and now we're going to leave that right side the same. So now what we want to do is we want to get our x's on the same side. Well, I see that this is a -6x. So to get it over to the other side, I actually need to add 6x. So then we get -10 is equal to 4x plus 6x, which is 10x, plus 20. So now I need to get this 20 over to the other side, so I'm going to subtract 20 from both sides. Now, when I do that, -10 minus 20 is going to give me -30. And then we get 10x. So then we're going to divide both sides by 10, and -30 divided by 10 is -3. So here I get that x is equal to -3. Let's take a look at number 2. Number 2 is no different. We just have to do a little bit of distributing. So we're going to take that -7, distribute it in. Take that 3 and distribute it in. -7 times p is -7p. -7 times 7 is -49. And then we're going to do 3 times p, which is 3p. 3 times -4, which is -12. And that's going to be equal to a -17. So next thing we need to do is combine like terms on this side. So we have a -7 plus 3, which is a -4. We also need to combine our constants on this side. So we're going to combine those two terms. -49 minus 12 is -61. Next thing, add 61 to both sides. And then you end up with -4p is equal to 54. Now we're going to divide both sides by a -4, and that's going to give you a -13.5. So 54 divided by a -4 is -13.5. So that's your final answer for number 2. I want you guys to go ahead and try number 3 on your own. Remember, these are the ones that are going to show up on those Schoology quizzes at the end. So let's take a look at number 4. So we want to take that 9 and distribute it. So 9 times b is 9b. 9 times -4 is -36, and then here we have -7b. Now we're going to take that 5 and distribute it in. 5 times 3 is 15, and then b. 5 times -2 is -10. So let's start by combining terms on this side. So I want to combine my 9 minus 7b. Well, that's going to give me 2b minus 36 is equal to 15b minus 10. So now I want to get my b's to the same side. So the first thing I'm going to do is I notice that this is a positive 2b. So since it's a positive 2b, I'm going to subtract 2b from both sides. And then I get -36 is equal to 13b minus 10. Now, I want to get that -10 over to the other side, so I'm going to go ahead and add 10 to both sides. And then I get -26 is equal to 13b. Well, that 13 is being multiplied by the b, so I can go ahead and divide both sides by 13. -26 divided by 13 is -2. So your final answer for number 4 is -2. Now this next chart here is very, very important, especially this column right here. And the reason why it's so important is those words right there will help you with word problems. If you see not as much than or fewer than written in a word problem, then you should know immediately you need to do less than. So I always refer to the inequality symbol as an alligator, and this will become more important as we move forward in the unit. So you have less than, less than or equal to, or greater than or equal to. So I really suggest writing each of these down so then you have them for future reference when you go ahead and make your when you're writing word problems and you're setting up those equations. And so basically the solid line underneath, that is what represents or equal to. So that means that our letter could be equal to that number. If it doesn't have a line underneath it, that means it can't be equal to the number. It has to be strictly less than or strictly greater than. So let's take a look at some inequalities. Let's take a look at number 5. So, oh, sorry, there's a little important note you need to write on the bottom. So there's just a little portion down there right below your chart. The biggest, most difficult part about these inequalities is that you need to remember to flip your inequality symbol if you multiply or divide by a negative number. So as you're going through and solving the equation, you need to make sure you multiply or divide. If you multiply or divide by a negative number, you flip the symbol. So let's take a look at number 5. We're going to actually put that into practice. So we're going to take -4 and distribute that in. So -4 times 5 is going to give me a -20W. -4 times -8 is a +32, and that's going to be greater than 53. Or 52, I'm sorry. That should be 52. There we go. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to subtract 32 from both sides, and I get -20W is greater than 20. So I just wanted to make that note. On your sheet, it's 52, so that's why I changed it. So now we're going to go ahead, that -20 is being multiplied by the W. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to divide both sides by -20. Well, here I'm dividing by a negative number. So I have little alarm bells going off in my head that tells me I need to flip that inequality symbol. So now that we've flipped, we get W is less than -1. So we're going to have an open circle going to the left. Okay, the open circle tells you that it is strictly less than. That means we don't include -1. Let's take a look at number 6. So for number 6, we want to solve for 4. So the first thing I'm going to do is subtract 13 from both sides. Then I get -4k is less than or equal to 14 when you do 27 divided by, or subtracted by 13. Now I'm going to divide both sides by a -4. Again, I'm dividing by a negative number, so I'm going to need to flip my symbol. And then I get 14 divided by -4. Well, that's a fraction that can be reduced, so I'm going to go ahead and reduce that fraction. They're both divisible by 2, so then I have 7 and divided by -2, or a -7/2. Now I notice that there's that greater than symbol, so I'm going to do a solid line because our answer can include that 7/2. And since it's going greater, I'm going to go to the right. So that's something I didn't really explain on the previous slide. If it's greater than, you're going to go to the right. If it's less than, you're going to go to the left. And then if there's no line underneath, you have an open circle. If there is a line underneath, you have a solid circle. So I want you guys to go ahead and try number 7 on your own. Okay, so let's take a look at number 8. So for number 8, we want to get that B by itself. So we're going to subtract 5 from both sides. And then we get B divided by -3 is less than 5, because 10 minus 5 is 5. So now that B is being divided by a -3. So to get that B by itself, I actually have to multiply by a -3, because that's the opposite of dividing. Well, I need to flip my symbol because I multiply by a negative number. 5 times -3 is -15. So we have an open circle because there's no line underneath, and -15. And it's a greater than symbol, okay? If the inequality symbol, the alligator mouth, is opening towards the letter, then it's greater than. If it's opening away from the letter, it's less than. Since it's opening towards the letter, it's greater than, and we need to go to the right. Now let's take a look at some of these word problems. So we're going to put this into practice. An amusement park charges $15 for admission and $2.50 for each ride. You go to the park with $60. So what does that tell me? If I only bring $60 to the amusement park, whatever I spend has to be less than or equal to $60. I can't spend more than $60 because I don't have it. I'm going to let X equal the number of rides that I go on. So I go to the park, I have to pay $15 just to get in the door. And then for every X ride that I go on, it's going to be $2.50. Okay, so now I'm going to solve this for X to figure out how many rides I can go on. So I'm going to subtract 15 from both sides, and then we get 2.5X is less than or equal to 60 minus 15, which is going to give us 45. Then I'm going to divide both sides by 2.5. 45 divided by 2.5, well, that's going to give us 18. Now we want to make sure we label it. Remember that X represents rides. So with that $60, I can go up to 18 rides. I could go less than 18 rides, but I can't go more than 18 rides. 18 is kind of my cap on that one. So let's take a look at number 9. You have $18.50 to spend on a pizza. Okay, well, if that's all I have to spend, whatever I actually spend needs to be less than $18.50. I don't have any more than $18.50. So just to get the pizza, it's going to cost me $14. And I'm going to let X represent the number of toppings. So it's going to be 75 cents for each additional topping. So for every X topping I have, it's going to cost me 75 cents. So there's the inequality. Now I just have to solve it. So I'm going to go ahead and solve this for X. I'm going to subtract 14 from both sides. And 0.75X is less than or equal to 18 minus 14, which is going to give me 450. Then I need to divide both sides by 0.75. And I get that X is less than or equal to 6 toppings. So I can get up to 6 toppings. I could get 5 toppings, I can get 4 toppings, I can get 6 toppings, but I can't get 7 toppings. So I want you guys to go ahead and try number 11 on your own. Now here's the deal. In number 11, you're going to get a decimal. So think about it. Can you go to half of a game and still only pay for half of the game? Probably not. So for this problem, whatever you get, you're going to have to round down. All right, so that concludes your note video today. Please remember to take that Schoology quiz and have a great day.